بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء وسيد المرسلين وخاتم النبيين الحبيب المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحابته الكرام المنتجبين. In the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, all the praises are due to God, and may the peace and the blessings be upon Prophet Muhammad and upon his purified progeny and the believers of his companions. And may the peace and the blessings be upon all of you, dear brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First, I would like to take this opportunity to say a happy Mother's Day to all mothers in this group, those who attend the session in our community, and whoever is going to watch this video on YouTube or other media outlet. I wish you a happy Mother's Day. May God bless you and protect you all. We continue with our Qur'an study. Today we will start with verse 63, inshallah. I'll read the I read the Arabic, and Muhammad Rada will translate it into English. All right. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ألم ترى أن الله أنزل من السماء ماء فتصبح الأرض مخضرة إن الله لطيف خبير.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Do you not see that God sends down rain from the sky? Then the earth becomes green. Surely God is the most kind and most aware.
Yes, this verse and previous verses as well, if you recall, the Quran draws our attention, the attention of all humans, to the miracles of God, the natural phenomena that may happen every day, but we don't think about it a lot because it is happening every day. On this verse, the Quran is referring to a phenomena that happens all the time. In some areas, maybe happens every day, many times per day. That's the rain. We see some part of the rain when rain drops, falls from the skies. But God is reminding us in many verses, in fact, in the Quran, many verses about this natural phenomena. Have we thought about it? It says, "Alam tara anna Allah anzala min as-sama'i ma'an." It is God. Don't you see that it is God who brings water or rain from the skies? In fact, if you ask a scientist about the cycle of rain and water on Earth, he or she might spend hours talking about the beauty, the sophistication, and the benefits of rain, and how many elements in this world, in the nature, work in harmony to bring a fresh water to our homes. The sun plays a role in evaporating the water from the surface of the oceans and the sea. Water evaporates to the higher layers of the atmosphere, contrary to the power of gravity. Gravity pulls things down. Amazingly, there are things that contrary to gravity, grow up. A growth of humans, trees, animals go up, does not go down, contrary to gravity. And when water evaporates and goes to the higher, this is the wisdom. This is how God created it. And then then this steam turns into clouds. Now rain has to fall on the dry land. It would not make a big difference if it is going to rain on the ocean. So God has created this natural trucks, which are the winds. The winds push the clouds until they come over the land, and over the land they drop their load in a very amazing, wise manner, in a form of drops, either liquid or snow. They fall and they bring fresh water to people's home, to animals, and to trees. They fall also on the top of the mountains. So they are stored there in a form of ice. And then when summer comes, ice melts and turn into water, and again run through rivers to bring water, fresh water to humans, animals, and farms. All of this is made free. God does not charge us for all of this sophisticated operation. We pay for water because there is service offered by men or women, by companies. They bring the water to our homes. That's that we pay for the service provided by other people. But for the service that God provides us, it's absolutely free. So the Quran is reminding us that, look, who's behind this? Who sends fresh water to your homes, to your farms, to the animals to drink, and then makes the earth, the dry, barren land, turn it into a beautiful piece of land that is full of greenery and also full of wild roses and flowers. This is all made by God. Quran is drawing our attention. We see this all the time. A lot of people, they don't pay attention. They don't even think how this is happening, because they take it as given. The role of the Quran is to tell us, think about this, and then you can find God behind this phenomena. And this is out of His kindness. Inna Allah latifun khabir. This is out of His kindness for people. He is aware. He is the most kind. He is the aware. The translation of the most aware might not be the right translation, because I don't know, it might give the meaning that most aware, there are things that He is not aware, but He is most aware compared to human. No, God is the aware. God knows everything in this. He is the source of knowledge and information. He is also the source of kindness. So the whole kindness actually belongs to God. He is the kind. I see in some translations, they use the word most. So I see a hand raised, so I would like to hear the comment.
Yes, Seyed Ali, I
before
think
we move.
a good
Yes.
substitution for most aware is all aware.
All aware.
All aware, I think, works because it encompasses everything.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for your comments. So the best, I think we should edit the most aware or the most gracious, or what it's all aware. I don't know if all kind would be applicable or not, but anyway, you got to understand my point. God, whatever, we will talk about this in a minute, about the attributes of God. Those verses end with every of these verses, the one before, this one, and the one we will read after, they end with attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so we need to understand this attributes. If He is kind, He is basically all the kindness belongs to Him. There is no more kindness in this universe that does not belong to God. If there is kindness, all belongs to Him. This is just an example, and we will talk about this later. So I don't know if the translations of most would be the correct one. Please correct me if we do translate it, not in the best manner. All right, verse 64. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض وأن الله لهو الغني الحميد.
To Him belongs all that is in the heavens and on earth, and surely God is the self-sufficient and worthy of all praise.
So everything on this earth, everything in this universe belongs to God. This is a very simple but important concept, the concept of ownership. When we believe we own things, in the tradition of Islam, this ownership is temporary, and it is meant to be that God has entrusted us with things He gave us. These are things for us to enjoy, but when we leave this world, we leave it for others. We're not going to take, so our ownership is temporary by our life. The moment we depart does not belong to us. Why I say this? Because the next verses will talk about how God has made things in this earth available for us. Now, everything belongs to God. God is the final authority of everything in this universe, on earth and also in this universe. Again, this verse ends with two other attributes. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَهُوَ الْغَنِيُّ الْحَمِيدُ. Surely God is the self-sufficient, worth of all the praise. How do we get to know God? In fact, God introduced Himself through the revelation. So we know Him through the attributes. We call them attributes or names of God. Those names and attributes tell us who God is. We get to know God through these attributes. Though our knowledge is limited, our ability to understand God is extremely limited, yet He described Himself in terms that make Him closer to our understanding. And one, for example, in this verse, He says He's self-sufficient. I'll talk about these translations and where I get some of my translations from. The word ghani, the current translation means wealthy. But wealthy is one aspect of ghani. Ghani means someone who does not need something. And God is the self-sufficient because He needs nothing and no one. He is not a matter. He does not depend on His actions or on His life, on anyone else. He is self-sufficient. He is, as the Quran says, huwa al-ghani. If someone needs other, we people need one another. If you abandon an infant, most probably he or she will die because they are dependent on their parents, on some other humans to take care of them, to support them, so on and so forth. This is just one example. We depend on one another in our social interaction. And we depended on our parents, on our mother when we were in their wombs, so on and so forth, not for God. God is not a matter. God is not a material that he depends on others. God does not need time or a space or energy. He created all of that. So this is one aspect of God, that he is beyond needing anyone or anything, whatever that comes to our mind. This is very important, because if he would need somebody, then there is a higher authority than him, higher than him, that he needs that authority. So he's not God anymore. The higher authority is. So we believe that God is the final authority, that he does not need anyone or anything else. And he is al-Hamid, worthy of all praise. Of course, God is worthy of all praise. But why? You see, brothers and sisters, when we do favors to one another, we do it because we do favor and we receive favor. The term that I learned, the quid pro quo. You do something for me, I do something for you. Favors of humans are like that. Though the Qur'an tells us, do a favor, but do not expect anything. This is the highest level of the great self-denial, and manners that the Qur'an is teaching us. But in reality, this is a human nature. We help others, in return, we get help from others. Not for God. God is self-sufficient. God does not need anything, yet he would, of course, do favors to everyone. He is kind to everyone, and this is why he is worthy of a praise, because he does not need our favors. When we pray for the benefits of, we pray to him for the benefits of ourselves. And when we worship him, the same, for the benefits of ourselves, our righteousness, our piety reaches him. He accepts our actions, but he is not in need of them. This is why we call him al-Hamid, the worthy of all the praises. All right. The next verse, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. ألم ترى أن الله سخر لكم ما في الأرض والفلك تجري في البحر بأمره ويمسك السماء أن تقع على الأرض إلا بإذنه إن الله بالناس لرؤوف رحيم.
Do you not see that God has made all that is in the earth subservient to you, and that the ships sail through the sea by his command? And he withholds celestial bodies in their orbit so that they may not fall upon the earth except by his permission. Surely God is the most gracious, most merciful.
Yes. So the previous verse said to God belongs everything. Now, Almighty Allah, out of his kindness, he gave authority to the man to enjoy the benefits of earth, to use the resources of earth. This is what it says, سَخَّرَ لَكُمْ. He made all the resources on earth available for you humans, you the man. He transferred some of his authority to the man to use the resources on earth. available for him, entrusted him with, not to own, entrusted him, and to use it in an efficient way, not to abuse it, to use it in an efficient way so he and the population can survive, live healthy and enjoy. The earth has enough resources for all populations to live healthy and enjoy. So you see the man, unlike other creatures on this earth, he cultivates the land for food. He built roads, bridges, dams, rivers, canals, tunnels. God has given him this ability. He actually brings out oil and other minerals from the bottom of the earth to use it as a fuel and source of energy. He uses the air, the resources in the air, in the sea, in the mountains. He also uses the animals for food, for transportation, you name it. The man has the highest authority on earth because God given him, not higher than God. This is what we believe. This is the difference between people of faith or people who do not believe in God. God has given the man this authority to use the resources for his survival and for his or her healthy life, but not for the abuse. Unfortunately, the man has crossed over this line. The man throughout history has abused some men and some governments, some powers, some companies now. They are abusing this authority. They are destroying a lot of resources. For example, the rainforest is being destroyed every single day. The water resources, the oceans being abused in the way that humans dump waste in them. There are many animals, species being extinct and disappear because the way the man is dealing with consuming things in his and her life. So God has made all of this available. And one of the most ancient, of course, before I moved to the ships in the sea. So based on this, God has given the authority for the man to use the resources on earth. He has the highest authority. Now, I have heard and I read books and articles for some scholars that they say maybe within the next 100 or 200 years, the authority will not belong to the man, it will belong to artificial intelligence. Whether this is right or wrong, I'm not the person to judge on that. I'm not scientist, but we believe, this is something that you can challenge. I don't know. I'm not in this position to say what is going to happen. Though in my mind, I really doubt that. Artificial intelligence will have the higher authority over humans. Anyway, that's a very different topic that it's not my area of specialty. Then the Quran refers to وَالْفُلْكَ تَجْرِي. He says وَالْفُلْكَ تَجْرِي فِي الْبَحْرِ بِأَمْرِهِ. One of ancient ways of using resources on earth is navigation through rivers and seas and oceans for travel and transportation. And possibly one of the most efficient and cheapest way to travel and transport goods and products, even today. And God is referring to this. He says, This happens because of the command of God, because God has made it this way that you human discover this resource and use it for yourself. God has created this life on earth in a way that you can use the ocean in this manner and for many other resources. Then he says, وَيُمْسِكُ السَّمَاءَ أَن تَقَعَ عَلَى الْأَرْضِ إِلَّا بِإِذْنِهِ. He withholds the stars, the planets, the galaxies, the constellations from falling on earth. The Quran using the word وَيُمْسِكُ السَّمَاء. Sama in Arabic has many meanings. One meaning is heaven. When we say hell and heaven, the Quran uses the word sama referring to heaven. It may mean the whole universe and whatever in the universe, the stars, the planets, the galaxies, everything in universe is also called sama, or the plural or sama, samawat. Samawat, all the layers of the outer space. It may mean everything that is high or above us, higher than us. It is also called sama, including roofs and canopies, something that is, higher than us. It also could mean clouds. Now, for this translation, I mentioned that I use many translations of the Quran just for your information. One of them is the translation of Abdullah Yusuf Ali. This is the book that I use daily for the translation. It might not be the best, but I just got used to it. The other source of translation of the Quran is the Message of the Quran, written by an Austrian Muslim. His name is Muhammad Asad. Muhammad Asad was born in Austria in 1900. Was born in a Jewish family. And at the age of 26, he converted to Islam. He traveled through many Muslim countries. He wrote many books, including The Road to Mecca, one of the very good books. I recommend that you read it. And he also translated the Quran, the Message of the Quran. He initially thought that he will finish this the translation in 2 years. But I think it took him about 17 years to finish the translation of the Quran. I say this so we acknowledge his very important, very rich and great job, great work, really. He translated this word, this is the word sky, into celestial bodies that are orbiting or moving in their orbits. So I actually use this term of I quoted him in my translation. I think this is what is the meaning of the word the sky here. God holds the stars, the moons, the planets in this universe. How many billions and billions? Nobody knows. We know there are many beyond the count of humans. God is holding them from collapsing. Have we ever thought about this? Of course, they say every star has an age, and when it comes to end of their age, they collapse. And they say, in fact, sometimes when you look at the skies in the night, and you see a shining light from a star, possibly this star has already ended. After millions of years, light years, now its light is reaching us. See how this universe is so huge. So we're only seeing the light while the star has already gone, perished millions, maybe billions of years ago. The light has only reached us now. God has created this universe and it is expanding. Every day there is a new star and the planets are being born, and every day some are dying. But they are all in movement, moving around orbits. Who is holding? God is holding. Science say there are two forces that holds these planets and stars, the gravity and the inertia. They both work together in harmony to keep the planets and the stars orbiting in their circle, in their line. They do not go out or they do not go in. We get to know these informations in recent years, possibly 300, 400, 500 years ago. Not a lot of people knew about this. Today, the science is discovering all of this information and facts. So God is reminding us. He has put this system in this universe that everyone is orbiting in its exact position, not anything further or less. Nobody can do this except God, and God does it out of His kindness. Inna Allah, the last two attributes in this verse, it says, Inna Allah bin nasi la ra'ufun rahim. God is kind, is most kind or all kind, and most merciful or all merciful toward people. He has done this out of His mercy and kindness. Yes, we come to the end of our half an hour today. We'll continue, inshallah, tomorrow. Just a reminder, brothers and sisters, tomorrow we will have the Qur'an study for maybe about 20 minutes. We'll make it shorter. And then another 20 minutes, we will commemorate the life and the martyrdom of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So we will make them two separate sessions for people to stay at both, join us at both, or to join us for only for one. We will start at 6. Hopefully we will end by 6:40 or 6:45, inshallah. If there is a question or a comment, please raise them now.
And then we'll join again at 9:30 for Laylatul Qadr.
Yes, and then we will join together for the supplication of Dua Jawshan, the 1000 name of God at 9:30, inshallah. I think Hajj Raza will send the newsletter for everyone to know the details, inshallah. All right, if there is no question, I would like, before my prayer, shorter prayer, to wish again the mothers who join us today, the mothers in our community, and mothers who will listen or watch this video later, a happy Mother's Day, and wish them the best. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect all of you brothers and sisters, and bless you during this great month, reward you for your devotion and your fasting and for giving charity, inshallah, and we'll see you tomorrow. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
السلام عليكم.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.